Hello, welcome back to Data Science. This is Vivian here, and today we are going to look at Python functions. Now, functions are something that we've been using quite a lot since the start of this tutorial, but we have not seen how to create our own functions. Usually, functions are created when you are writing some code repetitively and then want to add it in an organized block. That's one reason. Again, it makes your code look more organized, better to use, and reusable. So let's look at how to write functions. I'm going to open a new notebook, and here usually some of the functions that we used is one of them is print hello world. So if you look at this print, it's a function that is built in, and I'm giving a parameter or an argument. You'll hear those interchangeably. So parameter or an argument, and it will call this function, and the function will do is print this value. Now if I want to create my own function, let's say I am printing values over and over again, I want to call a function. So the way you write a function is start with def, which definition, and then name of the function, let's call it main, and colon, and below it the function body. In our case, I'm just going to say print I am main. Okay, so that's how I define a function. And now to call a function, I just call the function this, and if you see this thing called this function and it printed I am main. So that's a basic definition of a function. What if I want to give some parameters inside a function? So if I want to create a function and I have a parameter, let's say a, I am main with value, can say comma a, and now when I call it, let's say main 24, and if you see, it will take this function, call the function, pass the parameter value 24, and when it's printing, it's going to get that value and display it at the end of it. So that's how parameters work. What if I want to give two parameters? I can say, let's say I want to call add function, add two numbers, and I'm passing a and b, and here I can say sum is a plus b, print that, add two numbers, and here I'm going to say 2 and 3, can enter, and if you see, it's going to call this function, pass 2 and 3, and take the sum of both of them and add it up. 2 plus 3, 5 is what is displayed. I can call it again with, let's say 20 and 35, and there you go, 55 is, so 35 plus 20, 55. I can call for subtraction. I can create a method where I'm doing regular things over and over again and add it to that. Now what if I want that value to be returned back to me? In this particular function, let's say if I add something called as return, let's get rid of this. Return is a keyword. What it does is it gives the value back to my calling functions. For example, I say a or sum equal to, or sum of two numbers equal to, add two numbers, and I say 34 and 67, and now sum of, when I want to sum, see what, so what happens is it will call this function, pass these values, and return a plus b. It's going to take these numbers, add it, and assign it back to sum of two numbers. If you look at it, 101, which is addition of 34 and 67. So that's how you can get values. Another way, another function type declaration is or something called as anonymous functions. Anonymous functions are functions without no name. So think about this function without a name. So if I copy this, paste it here, don't add any name, this is an anonymous function. The way anonymous function works in Python is by using something called as lambda. So if I say lambda and then give the parameter that I'm passing, for example, let's say a, and I want to return from this, let's say a plus 5. So if I give it 5, it will give me 10 back. If I give 20, it will give me 25 back. So I can assign it to a variable, and now if I print x, it's that it's going to call this function and get this value inside it. So the reason it didn't give it is because it's lambda here. So the way to get output from it is I need to pass this a parameter, because without that a parameter it's just a lambda function. So if I run this, if you see 3 is what I gave and it gave me 8 back. Similarly, I can say x of 45, it'll give me 50 because it adds 5 to it. Another pretty cool place where I can use it is with different functions, built-in functions like filter, map and reduce. What are these filter, map and reduce? Filter lets you filter out a particular list or an iterator and get whatever you are interested in. Map will actually try to modify a list that you give to it and then give you an output. And reduce is gonna look at all the items and give you a solution out of this. What am I talking about? Let's look at some of these functions. Let's say if I have a list 1 with the values of, let me just put some random numbers in here. Okay, so I have a list here, and now with this list what I want to do is I want to call the filter method. Now the way filter method works is it takes 2 parameters. First one is a function and second one is the list. So I can give list1 as the second method, and instead of giving a function I'm going to give an inline or an anonymous function which is lambda, and I'll say it can take a parameter a and give me everything inside this particular list which is greater than 20. So what it's doing is it's kind of using this list1 and taking each item inside it using the filter method and give me every number which is greater than this. So I want to put this inside a list, so I can just say give me this list. I'm going to assign it a list, my list, or let's call it my filtered list. Run it, and now if I want to print this out, it should give me 45, 63, 232 and 77 because they are larger than 20. So I run this, and if you see 45, 63, 232 and 7, so it will take a list and create a new list and apply this function to each and every element to check if it can filter out. So that's how filters work. So if you want to build a search engine with, let's say, a list of all the names of fruits, and you want to filter based on a particular season, you can have key value pairs and then filter it out from there. Another cool function is map. So how does map work? Map also does same thing. It takes 2 different parameters. The second one, as you probably know, is list, and the first one is a function. So I'm gonna say lambda, give me all the elements inside it but reduce 5 from it, from each and every element, and it will put it inside a list, new list, and I'm gonna my mapped list. So it takes a list and maps it, as the name says, maps to this particular function for each and every element. Let's look at the solution, and you'll see 45 became 40, 3 became -2 because subtracting 5 from each and every function for every object inside a particular list. So that's how map works. The next function that we're going to look at is reduce. Reduce by default doesn't show up, so what we have to do is we have to import from func tools import. So there's something called as func tools which is built in, and from that I'm importing reduce. Now once I have that, I can run reduce. It takes two parameters just like everything else that we did before. First one is function, so I'm going to say lambda a comma b, give me a plus b. So what it does is reduce will take the first parameter and second parameter. What you want to do is add it, then take the one solution from this and take the next one. So first, like let's say 45 plus 3 becomes 48. 48 will take is assigned to a, and 63 assigned to b. Add it again, add it again, add it again, add it again until it gets one single value. So I'm going to say value equal to whatever comes out of it. Let's print it out, and there you go. 432 is what is addition of all these numbers. Now I don't want to go and count all these, but I'm going to make it easier. Add these 5, run this again, 15. So 1 plus 2 3, 3 plus 3 6, 6 plus 4 10, 10 plus 5 15, and that's how I got this 15 value here. So these are different functions, and we're going to write a lot of functions inside our project, and we're going to use some of these filter, map and reduce to kind of do our work, some of the things that we want to do for filtering easily using these functions.